What's up, everybody? This is Matt from Headwaters Adventure, and I'm going to talk to you today about our upcoming trip this weekend, which we are going to Clearlake in California. So if you're around the area or if you're willing to drive, we are going to be there on Saturday and Sunday for our second fishing meetup. We do have some stuff from Yak Attack and Lithium Pro, I believe, to give away. And not this one, but our next one, we will have some fishing crates to give away too. So if that could tempt you to come out, I just want to get as many people together and out fishing as possible. So I think that would be a great way to do it. But we're going to be at Clearlake. It's going to be Kelsey Creek Campground. We're going to be there on the 29th and 30th. I am going to be in campsite number 57. We're going to stay there overnight, catch a bunch of fish, hopefully. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. If you want to come out, you can launch from anywhere on the lake. We will be launching probably off of our campsites or at Kelsey Creek. If you do have a boat that has CF numbers, whether it is motorized or not, if your kayak has CF numbers, it's $20 at the local tackle shop to get your quagga and zebra mussel stickers. And for a launching fee over at Clearlake State Fair, I believe it's $8 parking and then $5 if you have something with a trailer. So if you're just launching out of your truck or off the top of your car, I think you're fine for the $8 parking fee. If you're camping with us, I think you could just put it in right off the beach. But it's going to be a good time. It's pre-spawn. With that being said, you know, the weather's changing pretty drastically. We went from cold and rainy to really hot. I mean, it's almost 90 degrees today. It is going to be 90 degrees this weekend. I got out to Whiskeytown on Sunday evening, and then Monday morning we went to Shasta. Whiskeytown is still very cold. The water temperatures are low. We were off of the Brandy Creek side, so there is snow melt coming in there. Part of the reason why it's very cold. But with the water up, there's a lot of good cover, being the trees and bushes in the water, but a lot of good hard rock bottom, and a lot of it's clean because you're not having all the grass that has grown up already. It's still either dead or hasn't grown yet because of the cold weather. Now that it's getting warm, we are going to have more of an issue with grass, which generally I'd say I love grass. But at Whiskeytown, it's very stringy and even hard to get a Texas rig through sometimes. So I've talked to a few people who are fishing out there, and what was going on is a lot of those fish are still out in deep water feeding up on kokanee. The pre-spawn is going to be different depending on what lake you're on. Somewhere like Whiskeytown, where they feed very heavily on kokanee, those fish are getting ready to lay eggs and basically getting the minerals they need by eating those fish. So they're still out deep, 30, 40 feet of water. And then from the people that I was talking to, you basically got to hit them in the head right now. I didn't catch any while I was out. We didn't fish for terribly long. Coming up for this camping trip, my dog's going to be with me, and he's going to be in my kayak. So it was more of a test for him to make sure that I could fish and have him out there at the same time. Same thing on Monday morning when we went to Lake Shasta. And I got to say, I've been up here for 2.5 years, give or take. And Lake Shasta with water in it is absolutely gorgeous. I can't believe how beautiful it was. It's an entirely different place. Even if I didn't go to fish, I highly recommend going over there to hang out. It's luscious. It's green. I mean, everything looks good to cast at, which could be a problem now. But again, it's pre-spawn. Depending on where you're going, it's all in different stages. We went out by Jones Valley. There's a lot of water. There's the grass that usually grows on dry land that's in the water. There's layers of that, which looks really good. There's bushes and trees in the water. There's logs. There's debris everywhere, which creates a surface structure, basically like a dock that those fish are willing to hide under. So it gives you a lot of options. There's a lot of clean rock as well right now, which is really, really cool, because if you do like throwing a jig like myself or any of the other bottom baits where you're really going to keep contact, these solid rocks, and if you have something weedless, the tree limbs and bushes in the water are great places to target them. That's how I started getting bites out there this past weekend. I was targeting the bushes. They were in about 15, 20 feet of water, and I was doing a jig. Again, my favorite thing. I was casting past them, bringing them over the limbs, letting them fall, bringing them up, letting them fall. And I was getting bit doing that, but I got a lot of short strikes. I could not put a hook in a fish to save my life. I'd missed probably 5 fish like that before I started doing something a little different. We saw a couple cruising fish. I picked up a 7-inch line through swim baits, one of the Shasta bass baits. I did get hit on that a couple of times, but again, short strikes. I saw one of the fish that hit it, maybe 1.5 pound, 2 pounder. There's definitely fish moving around. I don't know how far they've moved into the spawning areas now that the water's come up so high. There's a lot of food in the water. All of the bugs and mice and other things that had homes and burrows, they've all come up and the fish had to be shallow too as it was coming up, just the way they work. So there's been a lot of food put in the water, so there's a lot of things for those fish to eat. And then with all the land grass that is now in the water, bait fish are going to have a ton of area to live and thrive. So you're going to have a lot of fish on those shorelines, on those bushes and things like that. I will say, I looked for bedfish. I looked for fish shallow. I prefer to fish shallow when I can. And I only saw one on a bed, and it was not in the place you'd expect it. I looked a lot for some clear, like very clear white spots in your beds, and I never saw one. You'd be surprised at the place that I found it. I went through the marina, and I was looking for, just to cast into boat slips, and spawning on a motor on a pontoon boat. You've got your big silver heat conductors and then a black motor. There was 2 largemouths spawning over 100 feet of water on a motor. Tails out, they were shaking. She was definitely laying eggs, and I couldn't believe it. So going down the shoreline, didn't see one bed. I assumed those things heated up more, and that is the reason that they were willing to spawn on it and so early. But the point of that is really there's a lot of fish in a lot of different stages, even in the same lake. It doesn't even have to be different lakes. So if you go out to Whiskey Town, your Whiskey Creek is going to be a lot warmer because you don't have as much snow runoff coming into it. So those fish are going to spawn first. I've heard of some beds over at Whiskey Town already as well. They told me ish where they're at, but I would definitely, I don't want to give out everybody's secrets. I want to tell you what they're eating and what they're doing, but you do have to go put in a little legwork yourself. But out at Whiskey Town, there are beds. Depending on where you're going, the water temperature is going to vary pretty drastically. So keep that in mind when you're fishing out there, and you're going to have an array of spawn and pre-spawn bass. So bring your whites, bring your white bright colors in case you do have beds. If you can get away with it, throw a natural color first. You'll catch them a lot easier. But just fish like they're feeding up. So fish like it is pre-spawn, and if you see beds, definitely fish them. They're not in full swing yet, but they're starting. Same thing at Shasta. I don't know what those fish are doing. The water temperature was definitely a lot warmer. They should have been lights out, but the fish either were not where we were fishing. We did see a few pushing bait. Everything seemed to be on the smaller side for some reason. I'm sure it's different at different parts of the lake. Like I said, we were at Jones Valley. I threw a shaky head. I threw a chatterbait. I threw a jig. I got most of my bites on a jig. Justin was with me. He was throwing a small swim bait, and he was caught the first fish, and he got a few other short strikes. But when they're pulling the tail down on a 3.2 swim bait, generally they're going to be smaller fish. I think cranking would have been a great option, but again, we didn't see a lot of activity. It was flat, calm. We were just trying to find them when we thought they were going to be shallow and feeding and spawning. They weren't there. So the change in weather is really affecting them. We are consistently warm for the next week. It's going to be in the 90s this weekend. So that fishing should really, really, really pick up. That's about all I've got for you today. I really think if I was going to change one thing that I did this weekend where I was throwing a jig in the bushes, I should have picked up a weightless Senko. They were about 15 feet. That's still a reasonable depth of water to throw a weightless Senko because it's slow. But when it's flat, calm, and those fish aren't willing to chase, it's a great option to go with. Very natural, very finesse, and it just seems to flat out get bit. I know those fish were in there, and again, it was more about getting my dog comfortable on the kayak, but if I was there just hardcore fishing, if they hit the jig and I kept missing them, a weedless Senko would have been the next thing, just letting it flutter down in there. I really do think that would have picked up a few more. I still think it would have been tough. I talked to some other people who said 2 weeks ago, lights out fishing, and then last week they went out and they caught 5 fish, the full day of fishing. And this is a guy on bass boat who's, running around trying different spots. So they're in an odd mood. Things are going to change very soon. It's going to go from 0 to 60 like that. I do want to thank Wendell Fishing, and I believe it's U.S. Geologic Maps, and I want to look that up just so I can get it right for you, and I really do hate that I have to look it up on here. Give me 1 second because I do want to get this right. Hydrology map. Let me see. I apologize again. Here we go. Please forgive me. U.S. River Maps. They did this really cool piece of artwork for me. So this is from Shasta. This is all the Sacramento River and the tributaries. And it's a really cool piece of art that they gave me for doing a Wendell Fishing show. It's a sponsor of his. And I really want to thank them for sending that to me. It's really, really cool piece of art. Besides that, get out there, go fish. They're spawning. I mean, in all the ponds, they're spawning. There's beds everywhere now. If you go to any local pond, in a lot of warmer spots, there are beds in the lakes as well. Again, it's going to be different where you go, even the different arms, the different tributaries that you're going to. But fish are spawning, fish are feeding. They might be in a funky mood now. It's just an adjustment period. Like I said, 0 to 60, it's going to be on very, very soon. Keep your finesse baits there in case they are in that funky mood. Sometimes it's hard to beat a Senko, but you still have to find them. So use your graphs if you have them. If not, to the best of your ability, kind of think what's out there. Again, pick up a jig. You put on a heavy jig. You could really tell what's down there if you don't have a graph. It's a great way to figure out what bottom content and structure you have. But yeah, get out there and go fish. This the other thing is the river level has doubled on the Sacramento River. They are releasing water out of Shasta now, and it went from, I think it was 3,500 CFS to about 8,500 CFS. And I'm sure I'm wrong a little bit on the numbers, but it pretty much doubled. It's running fast, it's running higher, and it's running a little bit muddier, but that'll clear up soon for the fishing for trout. Yeah, and that's about all I got for you. So get out there, go fish, and until next time, stay fishy, my friends. And I hope I see some of you guys out there at Clearlake with us. It's going to be fun. I hope it's lights out. I hope that switch flips and we catch the crap out of them. So I know I think we've got at least 10 guys coming out. So hopefully you guys can make it, and we'll see you out there. Stay fishing, my friends. Get out, get on them. Oh, we got new stuff in the shop. I haven't quite got it on the website yet, but we got more tackle. I've got some jigs now. I've got some really cool chatterbaits from Picasso. I've got the Picasso Rhino head, shaky heads too. It's an Aaron Martin special. Check those things out. They're awesome. We got a whole bunch of new stuff in. We got some really cool swim baits, some custom ones from JSJ Baits. So come in and check those out. If you need a kayak, we do rent them through the summer. So if you like kayak fishing and just want to try getting into it, give us a call. We could get you set up so you could take it out to Whiskeytown, Shasta, Trinity, anything like that. So, there's a lot of options to get offshore, and we'll see you out on the water. Stay fishing, my friends.